everybody, welcome back to my channel. If you're new here, my name is Hamza and I'm a current first year medical student. And if you're not new here, thank you for following along. I love all you guys so much. Today's video is going to be something that I wish I knew going into medical school and things that I've had to learn along the way to be a successful medical student. Just for some background information, I am in my current second term of medical school, and so far I've taken courses like anatomy, cellular and biochemical foundations of medicine, and actually just finished my MSK or musculoskeletal block yesterday. Definitely this week was rough, but we're here now, we're doing well. Throughout all of this, I have maintained a 4.0 GPA, and I'm grateful that I was able to learn these skills throughout being in medical school. But it never hurt to hear these things before even starting medical school, and that's something I wish I knew. So I knew I had to make a video for you guys, and I hope you stick around and enjoy so you can ace medical school too. Okay, so the first disclaimer I kind of want to put out there is that not all of your study strategies that you used in pre-med is going to necessarily work in medical school. It's mainly because you're drinking out of a fire hose. You know, you're having almost 5 to 6 lectures a day with dense information, probably more than you might have seen in undergrad, and that can definitely feel very overwhelming at first. I'm not saying throw away the study strategies you used in undergrad, but definitely look at those and try to see what you can keep and what you can adjust. And usually you'll know and figure that out within the first week of medical school. And the second thing is that you might be like, okay, you know, I started my first term, I found my study strategies, this is working for me. And now you're hit with a new block, a new course, and you're like, what the heck? Like, the study strategies that I just used last term is not working this term. Because for example, in my first term, we had taken cellular and biochemical foundations of medicine. And for me, I found that not taking notes actually helped me more and just reading the PowerPoint, because everything I really needed to know was kind of concept-based and memorization in the PowerPoint. But then we started MSK this term, musculoskeletal, and that was a whole bunch of anatomy, because we all know anatomy is a whole different beast in and of itself. It's definitely needs its own study strategies, especially with having practical exams where you actually go into the anatomy lab with the cadaver. Like, they go and they pin things like, what is this muscle? What innervates this muscle? What muscles does this movement use? Things like that, which can seem kind of scary at first. I'll make a separate video on that, how to do well on your practical and what resources I used to get an A, so definitely keep an eye out for that. So if you watched my first week of medical school vlog, if you haven't, click the link up here, give that a watch. In that video, I share with you guys the spreadsheet that I actually use to stay organized and on top of all my lectures and assessments. So feel free to use that as a template. But basically what I did is I put all my lectures in a column, and then I also put how many passes that I did of that material. And that is actually the most crucial part of it, because one pass, like going to lecture or just reviewing lecture once, is not going to be enough, unfortunately. I know that got us through a lot of our pre-med classes, but unfortunately the material is just so dense that seeing it a more amount of times is actually going to help you retain it more. What I would recommend is before a quiz or a minor assessment is going through 3 passes of the material. So seeing the material 3 times. So one of those might be going to lecture, another one might be, you know, coming back home and looking over the PowerPoint on your own and taking notes, and the third one might be doing Anki or doing a form of active recall. For a major assessment like a final exam, a practical, an anatomy practical, things like that that carry heavy, significant weightage on your grade, I would recommend 7 passes total. So that includes your first 3 passes, right, that you did for the quiz. So you did your 3 passes, you took the quiz, and then it's been a few weeks and now you have your final exam. Try to get, you know, 4 additional passes after, so you can total that to 7 passes. So you do your 3 passes, take your minor assessment, do your 7 passes, take your major assessment. That is really the entire process from start to finish. Okay, now getting into my actual tips. My first tip is figure out if going to class works for you or not, because medical school is basically, you're just cramped for time, and finding out what works for you and doing that with the little time you have is going to be crucial. If that means going to class for you works, then make sure that, you know, you set your alarms, you wake up and you are in class by 8 a.m. because really time is the most important thing in medical school, if no one has told you that. Now the second thing is in relation to Anki. So I know a lot of you guys like Anki, love Anki, swear by Anki. For me, I was not an Anki person. So the first term I did not use Anki. First term was filled with more of, you know, your biochemical pathways, your genetics, things like that. And for me, I found that what I did is I literally just read the PowerPoint multiple times. Then I would go through my last and final pass of the material and actually teach it to somebody, or teach it just out loud and be like, okay, today we're talking about X, Y, and Z topic. And then I would go to the next slide and I would explain everything on the slide. And if I could explain everything on the slide, I knew I understood the concept. So teaching it to others, teaching it to the wall, teaching it to your little skeleton, I teach it to him all the time, is gonna be so helpful, because it's gonna show you, do you really understand the concept? Or sometimes I'm a victim of this, I gaslight myself into thinking I do. So that holds me accountable. And the next resource I have is, I am thankful to whoever invented this, because NotebookLM, if you have not heard of this, go on your laptop right now and type in NotebookLM. This is gonna be your holy grail. Like, I'm sorry, you have to use this resource. It is a resource based to help you study through using AI. And how it does this is you can literally download your PowerPoint or whatever resource your teacher gave you. You can even download the audio from lecture and upload all of this to NotebookLM. And what it's going to do is it's literally going to make notes for you. And it does such a good job of not leaving out information, because I know sometimes, you know, I use ChatGPT and it's like the highest level or whatever that you can get. And sometimes, like, you know, I still find that it leaves out some information. So instead I've been using NotebookLM, which is absolutely amazing. It does not miss any crucial details. And you can ask it to answer learning objectives. It can also create podcasts. So let's say you're talking about like glycolysis. One guy will be like, oh my God, I'm hungry, are you? And then the girl might be like, yeah. And he's like, okay, well, let's talk about glycolysis. And I just find that like so fun, and you know, just a fun way to study. Like, you can even just listen to it when you're driving to grab your cup of coffee in the morning or anything like that. And so it's a very versatile resource. Highly recommend. If you guys want a tutorial on that, comment down below and I will be sure to explain everything about NotebookLM in a separate video. And my third tip, if your professors provide you with learning objectives, use that as your outline to study, right? So let's say you watch lectures. So first you go through your first pass, you watch a lecture, maybe you come back and you review the lecture a little bit. Then ask yourself at the end of your review if you can answer the learning objectives. If you can answer all the learning objectives with everything in the PowerPoint, you are good to go. In addition to that, if you take time to answer the learning objectives, congratulations, because you just made yourself a study guide that you can review before finals, before quizzes and exams. And that's really comprehensive, and you don't have to go through the entire lecture all over again because you have these comprehensive notes now. Honestly, in my head, it's a win-win. I hope you guys think that too. And then lastly, for anatomy, my biggest tip, unfortunately, I know you guys hate to hear me say it, is Anki. Now, let me tell you before you say, oh my gosh, no, I'm not doing that. I was not an Anki girl. I did not like Anki. As I previously mentioned, it had never worked for me. I just felt like I wasn't retaining the information because I was memorizing the card, like the question and the answer, and not the actual content every time I did it. Like, for example, like physiology, things like that. You really need to go and understand the core details and how it works. You can't just memorize all the details because there's too much, to be honest. But anatomy is a different beast, as I said, and Anki is really good for anatomy because it's really just memorizing all the muscles in the body, where they attach, their origin, insertion, what innervates them, what actions they do. So Anki is going to be very helpful for that. And so yeah, that concludes this video. These are the exact study strategies that I used and am currently using to maintain my 4.0 GPA. It's definitely not going to be easy. I know doing all this, you might be like, okay, Hamza, like, how do I even have the time to do all this? Trust me, you will learn to balance your time after the first few weeks. Even the first few months, it's all just adjustment, and you will find your rhythm, you will find what works for you. These are just tips that hopefully can help you get started and maybe thinking about what options you have and what study strategies you can pull from to see if they work for you and your style of learning. And at the end of the day, I highly recommend that the first term you just focus on your classes. Don't try and volunteer or get a work study position or, you know, even get a job. I know you might be like, okay, but I'm in so much debt, like I need to pay this off, I need to get a job. Trust me, I totally understand where you're coming from. I felt the same pressure and stress. For me, I knew that, look, I need to prioritize my classes and for the first term, and after that I can add on other things. Like, I mean, right now I actually just came back from volunteering at a local hospital because I joined that program only after I knew what I could and couldn't handle. So join things you're passionate about outside of your academics. Make sure you got, your classes under your belt before you do so. And I know you guys are going to be great doctors. I'm so excited to see you guys excel and be the future physicians that our world needs right now. So I'll leave you guys with that, and if you have any other questions or have any other video recommendations that you want advice with or want me to record for you guys, please comment them down below. I read all of your guys' comments, and I'd love to cater, this channel and these resources that I provide to fit the needs of what you guys want and what you guys need and what will ultimately help you the most. So I'll leave you with that, and I'll see you guys in the next video. Bye!